20-1, filed by the Bank of Tescott requesting the approval of a certificate of appropriateness to allow construction of a new entrance vestibule on the east facade of the bank building located at 600 South Santa Fe Avenue. This property is legally described as lots 2 and 4 and lot 6 less the south 11.5 feet of the east 52.4 feet on Santa Fe Avenue in the Prescott edition of the City of Salina, Saline County, Kansas. This property was included as a non-contributing property in the 600 to 700 block of South Santa Fe Historical District that was established by the City of Salina on December 30th, 1991. John, staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. The Bank of Tescott building was constructed in 1968 at the intersection of South Santa Fe Avenue and Prescott Avenue. It was sometimes referred to back then as Prudential Plaza. It was done in a modified colonial revival style to remain in character with the residential properties that surround the building on three sides. Its facades have symmetrical detailing, multi-pane windows with shutters and bay windows. They pick up a lot of the colonial revival flair. It has a wood fascia trim that accents the cornice and a truncated hip roof that has cupolas in several locations. Remodeling in 1994 added an enclosed corridor that now connects the buildings, as well as a drive-through facility that occurred in 2001. There was an addition of a monument sign to the property that was reviewed by the Heritage Mission and approved in June 28th in 2001. The Heritage Mission has some input on the styling for that, so what we attempted to get, I think they successfully modified the original sign to form this a gabled monument sign with cap, as well as something that echoes the roof line of the building in a circular planter, so we thought that was very well done. This is in the 600 and 700 block of South Santa Fe Historic District. This was designated in 1991 as approximately 62 properties in that. Salina's historic districts are grouped together basically from South Street along 8th to Prescott, along both Highland and Santa Fe down to the 800 block of South Santa Fe, the 700 block of Highland. Those properties that are in those historic districts are evaluated on a sliding scale. When the initial nomination for the historic districts came about, some of those were determined to be non-contributing, others contributing. In the most part, on non-contributing properties, those were less than 50 years old at the time of nomination or had sacrificed or lost some of their architectural integrity. So the Colonial Revival Bank was outside of that 50 years old, though it is reaching that in a short order now. But it has been maintained as it's been an attractive commercial building in this location. It is a non-contributing property, so that it is based on a less stringent evaluation and that is applied to those types of properties in historic districts rather than contributing properties where they have a higher degree of integrity. The project architect states that the Bank of Tescott wishes to enclose a portion of their east entrance. This faces South Santa Fe. It has steps that go up into a elevated level of the main floor of the bank building. Step back from that, it would fit in an area that is roughly bounded by this arch area and would project forward. This shows that in a site plan. The darkest part are the modifications that are going to be needed on the concrete sidewalk and the parking lot itself to create a curb and a sidewalk to that entrance. Finally, on the entrance there, the top slide shows the area of the sidewalk that's being altered, as well as the extension of the vestibule itself. It comes out of the enclosure and also reaches out there far enough, approximately 6 feet, to capture a doorway and window, side light, as well as a set of steps going both to the south and to the north. This is a elevation of the finished product. In this case, the vestibule recreates the arched wooden trim that was on the building front, as well as divided windows that you see on the remainder of the structures. The railings that were inside the entrance on the previous iteration are extended out on the two landings and sidewalk steps that go to either side of the property there. Going back, this is the existing doorway as you see it today with the recess, and then the final product would be an attractive vestibule that it gives them an enclosed entranceway, helps them with heating bills, and is much more efficient in other ways as well. So this is the potential project affects solely that portion of the bank building. And in looking at that, the location for that would be off camera here, but if you were in the main parking lot, it would occur in this location. And nearly by the drive-through lanes of the bank. The handicapped access has been and will be maintained on the west bank elevation, which is the parking lot on the west side of the building behind the main structure itself. There's two handicapped parking spaces that serve both the office building and the bank building. As far as your standards for review, we don't discourage contemporary design for alterations or additions when those alterations or additions don't destroy historic or architectural material, and when such a design is compatible with the size, scale, color, material, and character of the surrounding property. Staff believes that the bank is wishing to upgrade and enhance their appearance by affecting their principal facade. The finished materials are going to match, in many cases, the materials that are already existing on the building, the wooden arch, pilasters, divided windows. It is done in a modified colonial revival style that is not an authentic colonial revival from certainly the post-Victorian age, but it is a contemporary interpretation that has been here for 48 years, so it is an established familiar feature. As far as findings, we find that the proposed design of the vestibule addition will be compatible in size, scale, and material. The proposed addition won't encroach upon or damage any nearby historic structures. The remainder of the district surrounds this on three sides roughly, and that hasn't changed much to today. This particular development does include another medical building to the south, which is under separate ownership. So this only affects the Bank of Tuscarawas building itself. As far as alternatives, you have the alternative to approve the certificate of appropriateness as presented, finding that it conforms to the standards and criteria contained in the conservation ordinance. You could approve it with conditions if a majority of the members wish to have a condition. You could postpone consideration of the application, or in the case of a denial, the applicant can appeal to the City Commission within 14 days of this meeting. So at this point, staff would be glad to take any questions you have. The applicant's architect is also here.
Any questions of staff? Go ahead.
Yes. You said that right now it is not considered a contributing member, but what happens in 2 years when the odometer hits 50 years? Will it then be considered a contributing part of the district, or is that automatic, or?
It's not automatic. We would probably have to resurvey the district because that has occurred some time ago, as far as the years ago. So it would be part of an upgrade of the whole district at one time, probably,
Right.
For us to go in and reevaluate the properties to determine if any have lost their character by later additions, or if they've, in this case, maintained their character. They would certainly be contributing at some point, but it would take action by the Heritage Commission and City Commission to change that classification.
But any action we take today could impact that future decision when it hits 50. It would be sort of whatever change now occurs and is built out. When it does hit 50, then it could be part of that reconsideration.
It could be part of that reevaluation. Since this is a building that is from a contemporary period, additions to something like a building This is, would probably, during the reevaluation, be a small item on the overall structure and site. So we could see that possibly assisting, or we certainly wouldn't see it harming the architectural character of the building.
Other questions?
Yeah, I have one or two. I'm sorry. From a design feature, from a layout of the property, I'm a little confused by the two door openings, I guess. But that's it's not really our purview. But given the layout of the land, I doubt very many people would use what would be called the southern entrance here versus the northern entrance, just because people are parking at the parking lot. They walk in. There's not much opportunity for them to walk in for the southern entrance of what would be the new vestibule. Have they?
Mike, wait just a second. Because we're televised, we like to be able to hear you. So if John needs some assistance, you can come up to the mic, and we certainly want you to help us understand, if you will.
Sure.
So that would be fine. Go ahead and come up and assist.
Yes.
State your name, please, if you will.
My name is Larry Fief, and what I was going to say is the majority of our employees park to the south side of the bank, and I would imagine the majority of them would come in that entrance.
Sure.
Most of our customers, yes, would come in on the north side of that.
Okay. And one other question regarding accessibility. I know you have handicap accessibility in the back, but it seems like if you're going to build a vestibule like this, you might have the opportunity to have a slight sloping ramp on this side to eliminate the two steps that you have there.
You want
to?
Hello, I'm John Ann with A+ Architecture Construction Services. At one point, there was an option to do a ramp on the east side, and since we have already ADA parking on the west side, we have access to those from the Prescott side as well as the Santa Fe side. I met with the city prior to this design and kind of went over my thought process in this, and they thought it was fine, so that's why we pursued it. And I do have a sign as you come in off the Santa Fe side. It does direct handicap access to the rear, which even if they come in that way, they can either go to the right and around to that, and that's where the current ADA ramp is located. Plus
I've been in the bank, and there's just like two little steps, I think. What's the elevation?
Actually, there's three steps. There's 2 steps to come up, then there's an additional step to get inside the building.
So it's not possible to just incorporate that into.
If we do, we're going to be clear past that window off to the right. So and then it kind of impedes in some of the features of the building. So we're going to be at least 30 feet from the main entry.
Just was curious.
Sure.
Okay. I'm done.
Other questions, staff? Okay, official staff report, go ahead, and if we'd like the applicant to share anything you wish with us at this time beyond the questions you've answered. If you have any additional information you want to share, you're certainly welcome to do it at this point.
I think we're good.
Okay. Then we always open it up to the members of the public, and I don't see anyone here to present from the public, which is somewhat normal, I guess. So with that, we need to bring this back to the commission now for consideration and possible action. So thoughts, comments, and eventually possibly a motion would be appropriate.
I think that the way they've got it put together, the design is well put together. And it looks, when it's completed, it's going to look like it was always that way. It's not like it was just added on and just changed. I really think we ought to just approve the certificate of appropriateness today so they can go on with it.
I'll second that.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I move we approve the certificate of appropriateness today so they can go on with this project.
Consider it be option 1, and then with the including based on the suggested findings 1 through 4.
Yes.
Second.
Agreeable? Yes. Second. We have motion second to approve this application as option 1 has suggested or recommended on page 5, including and subject to the suggested findings. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Good luck with your project.
Good luck.
The other matters, item 2, John?
We did hear from Mr. Tazika earlier today on a proposed project, and if he's willing, we could look at some aspects of that, comment on it, but it wouldn't be any official action that we would take today.
I would like some comment, some help.
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
We are on the south side of the Stiefel Theater. Do you have any of those slides,
Sure,
John?
one moment.
There are 2 exit lights at the south side of the Stiefel Theater that are over the top of the steps. And I think he has slides and so forth that will show those. Those need to be replaced, or they need to be replaced. They're in bad shape, rusted out and so forth. And so I called the museum today, and I called John today. Do we have any old pictures to see what the theater looked like in 1931 or relatively thereafter when it was open, to see if there are any fixtures, or if those fixtures are original and they need to be replaced. From the pictures that we have seen, those are not original fixtures.
No.
Go on.
I would agree that they're not original. If they were put up, they were probably put up in the 50s or later.
That's what I was
This type of
thinking.
industrial light or shade.
That's what I have. You can pass that around.
Those don't look right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll also pull up slides. I'm sorry.
No, those aren't original fixtures. But if we'd replace those with something, what I've replaced on the back side of the theater in the alley, when they did the renovation, they put up metal halide fixtures. And I've replaced those with LED fixtures on the back that are very, very small and very, very compact. In your opinion, I just want the opinion, do you think there's the metal halide fixtures that are on the back that are going away very quickly. Those are very expensive to replace because there's 3 components inside of them, and each one of those components are about $75 or $80. And when one goes out, you don't know which component went bad. So you have to get the kit to basically replace everything. So you're replacing the whole light. And I've replaced a couple of those that have gone bad with a LED fixture. And they're very, very small, and they work fine. But I don't think an LED fixture is going to look very good on the south side of the building. It's going to be more cost-effective and last a lot longer.
I don't think those things have been in there as long as the 50s, because I remember red ones in there when I was a kid. Similar in size, maybe he's been painted or just.
They've probably been just painted, taken down and painted.
But don't they make LED bulbs you can put in those things?
Yeah, they make LED bulbs. We can put in those, but the fixtures themselves are the one that's furthest away from us on this slide. John was down there and took that picture today.
Yeah.
I know he did, because that one was leaning down against the building, and I pushed it back up.
Well, I understand they might be able to be replaced, but you probably go in with similar style, can't you?
Probably can.
I would offer 2 suggestions. One, I noticed when we go out those doors after we're at an event there, probably didn't notice this 20 years ago, but it's not any too light there. And
No,
the
it's not.
stairs are, the stairs are there, and that's what we have. They're pretty steep stairs.
Mhm.
So for the people that are coming out, if you had a little more light, it would be nice. And then I always think if you have an opportunity, although it could be a little more costly and never wanting to put more burden on the entity, if you could put on some fixtures that look more thematic to the 30s when the building was built, but yet were LED component, and that would really be nice. Then you get the best of both worlds.
Are they lit during shows? Or
They're lit
all
during
the time?
shows. They come on with
Darkness.
darkness. They come on with the marquee, actually. They're
I'm-
wired into the marquee.
It's ironic that you asked to look at a picture from that time, but on our cover, there are no light fixtures there at all. And this is, I could probably figure out when this occurred, because we got a Gregory Peck film, Charles Lawton and Valley. So I'm guessing that's the 50s, that there weren't any light fixtures there at all in the 50s. So I'm guessing that the light fixtures were. I'm going to guess that they were probably added in, as you said in your memory, probably in the 70s when it was converted to
Well, but probably in the 60s.
the 60s for a safety feature for a movie theater. The codes probably changed and they probably needed a light, because I'm looking at the brickwork and it doesn't look like that would have been original. It looks like it's been drilled through and then filled in with concrete, so.
I don't think there was any lights on it when it was originally put up.
Yeah, and it shows here, this picture doesn't show any lights, so I don't think there was anything there historically, but because it's a historical facade in the historical district downtown.
Yeah,
There we go.
here's some. Now, this one is Robert Taylor, and it shows no lights there on that one,
No lights there.
and there's no lights on this one.
So would there be any objection to finding some that fit the era? You know,
No,
and putting because that would be,
That's my job down there.
that would be cool.
yeah.
That would really be cool.
I'd really
And
like
go
to help with that.
LED so that you get the energy efficiency
Yeah.
and the longevity of it. huh?
And the
Maybe something
brightness.
maybe something that lights a little bit better than just,
A little more direct light, yeah.
Oh, that's sure.
Yeah.
cool.
Access into those soffits
I can't even see
above the
the.
doors.
not really.
Yeah.
That soffits,
That looks like
Where's
it
the-
had-
that's where they
oh,
should be, but
down here.
Yeah, there's no access.
Why?
no, there's no
Or
access.
I
That's
didn't
under,
think
solid.
about
or
lights.
what would
Yeah.
be, what might also help would be
Well,
maybe,
there's one light here.
the other option is underlighting underneath
looks like a
the
bare wall.
handrails.
Yeah, probably was.
That would light downwards from the handrails to light the staircases and then take the fixtures off entirely. That's a more expensive option, because you're gonna have to figure out how to wire those. But we have some lighting like that on campus at Kansas Wesleyan, where they put some light fixtures. They put a strip of lights underneath our handrails going up to the front of Pioneer Hall.
Well, I think I'm gonna try to find something that
Yeah.
looks a lot, it looks more like in the 30s and so forth. There's some new things out there, and try to go with some LED type lights,
Maybe
so.
we
You
might-
know, you might, I'm trying to think, but Oakdale was built at the same time as the steeple. At least the brick is the same brick, basically,
Mhm.
same size,
Yes.
kind of an odd size brick.
that
But
50?
you might go
40?
by Oakdale. Those are,
50.
I think the original ones are still on the main door, which would have faced the
I don't know
west,
when
but they're
power
small. Now, they probably wouldn't be big
Oh,
enough for this building, but you could at
really
least see
wasn't
what they
that
look
long.
like.
Right.
And maybe find something was similar in design, only a little bigger, and put LED lighting in it. And there's a couple other buildings over by Oakdale that are, I think, built, they were doctor's offices or some, they were built, they're on Iron Street, they were built at the same time, they may still have the original lights on.
Okay.
I'm thinking
Thank you.
I
something.
would think that you'd be
10
able
years,
to
but I
still
would say
find a
no.
fixture that looks similar to that today.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
those are out there and available. It's
Yeah,
just
But
that
those aren't,
If you want,
those just,
you know, perfect idea is try and find something 30s-ish.
Right,
but
something
that's what I will hunt for.
something like that.
Yeah.
Real
problematic,
flat.
Yeah.
sounds like a fun project.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Normal.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Let me know if I can help.
Any other matters beyond that we need to address, John?
We appreciate your feedback on that item, and we have brought no other matters for you today. We do have 2 work items, and staff isn't going to forget those, but one is a historic recognition program, similar to what Dr. Silverman mentioned. Staff is working on that as well as potentially doing some more inventory work on historic district properties and that material. So we have those 2 work items to be working on, and certainly with the agreement of the museum with the placement of a potential marker for the August Bondi building, we'll go ahead and work with our contact there and report back to you.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right, very good. With that, meeting adjourned.